Hello and welcome to another episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast, the number one Necromunda lore podcast as listened to by Nathan while he's having a shower. As always, I am Spamuel, and to my right, the medicinally manufactured Manvant, Nathan.
Yet another top shelf classic, medicinally manufactured. One day I'm going to get you to explain all these.
Yes.
Not just for me, but for the audience.
Yes. I'm glad we've just completely glazed over the fact that apparently I'm paying a lot of attention to you in the shower. How are we, buddy?
Yeah, good, mate. Clean.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The cameras don't lie.
I'm very good. I'm still in recovery from that Delacroix episode. The marathon, beyond marathons. Yeah, it was a beast, but I really enjoyed doing it. And obviously you did too, as well. Even though it went against your train of thought in regard to what we were actually doing.
Well, I have a bit of a bone to pick with you for this one here. We're starting this whole episode out on a negative. So, people may not realize this, but I really, really wanted to talk about Van Sar. I really did. And then that was an absolute marathon of an episode that you wrote, like you said. And weirdly enough, it has been our most listened to episode in its first week of existence. It got close to something like 500 listens over not even the first week. So you did a good one. And when we eventually find wherever you put the information for my Van Sar episode that you deleted, I'm looking forward to doing that.
It's secreted away with the silent ones. Good luck.
But the praise that has come in from this episode from our audience has been just fantastic. And funnily enough, a lot of the praise is coming from people who originally were so upset with you by the way you pronounced Delac. In fact, I would like our audience to stop being so positive and not accept his Delaquetian ways because they are unacceptable.
I still love Delaquetian. I think it's a beautiful word.
People have actively used it in conversation, and I'm not okay with this. You are not. Is it verbs? Is verb the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
nouns.
Sure. Not nouns.
I think you've become a verb. This word has been Nathaned.
Good.
But yeah, it's great. The feedback we're getting from the episode was fantastic, and it was long. It was a long night of recording.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah,
it really was a beast. But really positive outcome from that, and I'm really happy with it as well. So it gives us the opportunity to move into this episode. Or have you got something else to say?
I have something else to say. Something miraculous happened today.
Oh, okay.
Something that has reinvigorated my love of this podcast and our community. So I was on my way home from work today, and I called my loving wife, as I'm like to do. And she asked me how my day was. I told her, and I said, "Oh, how's your day?" She goes, "Yeah, really boring. So I listened to your podcast." Oh, okay. What did you think of it? She went, "I don't understand any of it. I think you're all speaking a different language. I don't understand any of your jokes. It's just weird." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What episode did you listen to?" She goes, No, I've listened to it now. I've been supportive." So I'm like, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to take it." So yes, my wife has listened to our podcast.
Yes, well done. My wife is yet to jump on board, but that's fine. That's fine.
She's yet to be that bored.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just sit her down and lock her into the car for 5.5 hours for a drive somewhere, and just be like, "That's it." But listening to the Delacroix episode, I'm going to
lure her in with a family drive somewhere.
Yes.
And then strap yourself in, sweetheart. You're going to learn about the silent ones. We're just in a shopping centre car park, just driving in circles. I'm not pulling over until we've finished the whole episode and you've given me a gang idea.
The centre closed like 2 hours ago. I don't care, baby. We're doing this.
She's laying there crying. The kids are in the back seat, just hating life. She just looks at me and says, "Gang idea." That's when I know I've won.
You've won. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Or I would just be happy with the word. Look, I'll use it in common conversation. Deliquation. I'm going to use it.
Done.
You happy? Done.
Just, can we name our next kid Timmy? We'll call it even.
That's quite funny.
I thought you'd enjoy that. She almost said it before when we were on the phone. I'm like, no, stop. Yeah. I haven't told him yet.
That's great.
But yes, it was a big episode. We've got another episode, but before that, like I said, we've had so many more people listening. We're getting followers on Spotify and Instagram. It's amazing. Thank you to everyone who's in there with us. If you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, a comment, a like on your preferred podcast platform, or jump onto our Instagram, follow us there. We have a Patreon as well. Please, if you haven't seen it, check it out. The links to all of these will be in the show notes.
Yeah, just in regard to the 5-star reviews and just the interactions with us on the socials. So the more that people interact with us, the more we can interact with other people, and especially those 5-star reviews, they really help us to have a bit more of a presence on the podcast platforms. So if you do that, it's a massive help for our burgeoning little pod. So I guess this is a good time as any to talk about what the rest of the year looks like for us as well. So we are going down the pathway of the Aranthian succession.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a load of fun. Just the research that we're doing there is just a phenomenal amount. If you think a gang episode has just a monster amount of information, the Aranthian succession books are just chock full of lore and just chock full of all these little tidbits and things that we always talk about, where that one line or that one sentence, and just something even we mentioned in the Delacroix episode about Somnus, and we start to see it already in Cinderac Burning. I love that. I was just like, wow. I hadn't read it at that stage, and I was just like, oh wow, that is like it links up.
Timing.
It was excellent timing. Yeah, it was meant to be.
Timing.
But yeah, that's us for the end of this year, so that'll get us through to then, and then the start of next year, which will be the last book is the plan.
Yeah, so by the looks of this one here, so our 2 episodes for December will be the first and second books of the Aranthian succession, with the third book being our first episode for 2024. And we'll close out January with another gang episode. Not going to tell any of you what it is.
Which gang set? Which one do you want it to be?
Well, I would love for it to be Van Saar.
You've just got to find where I hit the file.
Yeah, you've explicitly told me that you're not going to give it to me until March. So I will... I'm not writing it again. You will paste it back where it goes. But no, this is a rant and me crying again on camera. So yeah, we'll end up closing out January with another gang episode and sort of get back to our sort of regular programming then. Mm-hmm. But these next 3 episodes are big uns. And given that we've just come off the 5.5-hour absolute mammoth of an episode for the Delarc, we wanted to go into something of a little bit of a palate cleanser, something a little bit more fun, and I believe it was, to quote an ancient Terran remembrancer, which is where we get the title for this episode, Now, I don't know how this particular Imperial hymn went, but we do have the tagline of, I don't like the chems, but the chems like me.
Yeah, really good one.
I thought you'd like that. That's right. We are once again taking the advice of our marketing department and trying to get in touch with the younger audience. We are talking about chems on Necromunda. And before we go into some of that, we would like to say, as an official statement from the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast, don't do drugs.
Yes, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. In real life, in Necromunda, doing drugs makes you very cool.
Yes.
In real life, loser.
Loser. Don't do drugs. Bad.
Don't do drugs. Bad.
Stop.
Stop.
Just let's continue.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to go into the house or gang specific drugs here. Everything we're talking about are the, once again, El Generico options. These are the things you're picking up in the black market, or you're going to the standard Underhive marketplaces and finding them for your gang. These are going to be the things that are available to everyone. Inevitably, we will talk about sort of the more specific gang options there. Obviously, the Escher chems being a big point there. That's not today. That was a whole nother book I would have had to read in preparation. It wasn't happening.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So, Nathan, you're the medicinal manufacturer of the podcast. Why don't you take us out with that first one?
Well, this is a great drug actually, because it's also used across the Imperium. I believe the Eversaw assassin actually uses this drug as well. So it's Frenzon. So it's that's the generic name really sort of given to it, that of I guess a variety of different types of combat drugs that are just pumped into these assassins, but also are widely available on Necromunda as well. And I think from what we were reading in the research, they're available to the penal legions.
Yeah.
Which is, I think is brilliant. Yeah, so it's just like load them up on drugs and charge that Chaos Titan with your 2 rounds left in your auto gun and your blunt bayonet. So, so it's a really cool, I guess, method to get your soldiers going. But on Necromunda, the presence it has there, it's like a short burn drug. So for like 10, 15 minutes or something like that, you turn into a psychotic killing machine. But on Necromunda, Frenzon is a mix of stim, spurt, slort, and other combat drugs. So we'll talk about those drugs a little bit later on. The resulting chem turns its users into savage killers intent only on murdering those in their path. Right,
honestly, it's not a party drug. It's not something you're going to be buying at your local Underhive discotheque. But yeah, we're talking about penal legions, and we're going to turn this into a 40k podcast real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my mind, do you remember old school penal legionnaires where they were all like human bombs, or
yes,
they were just those poor bastards that didn't praise the Emperor enough, so they had those collars strapped to them.
Yeah,
and it was like, all right, so you're gonna take this sharpened stick, and you see those really spiky Adeptus Astartes over there. You're going to go and get them with this stick. No, I'm not. Oh, and go. And it just pumps that junk into their systems, and they're just like, well, I've got to kill everything now. They basically become, what are they called? Death Company from the Blood Angels?
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like a sentient arco-flagellant.
Yeah.
So where the arco-flagellant, it's they flick the switch and it goes. This is just like pump you full of the good juice and see you later.
Yeah, but you mentioned it was the Eversaw assassins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is it the Eversaw?
Eversaw is the best. Is the king of assassins, by the way. I'm probably going to stir a lot of emotions with that, but he is.
Yeah, it's the Eversaw. But with humans, it effectively, and you've mentioned this already, it gets into their system for like 10 minutes, but their senses and their abilities are dialed up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And that 10 minutes for them will, like for us, is a lifetime for them. They're operating on a level that your average person just can't keep up with. The downside is, it's like you said, it's stims, spur, slort, a fistful of other combat drugs, 2 Panadol, and a Red Bull and a Monster Energy drink that is being injected directly into their veins.
Yeah.
It's not good for them. It's not a long-term option.
No, it's not. But it is funny because in the research we find that so gang leaders will, like, very much like they would do in the Imperial Guard, they inject them. So the gang leaders pump it into their disposable gangers, or they're just like, here, like, have this, go forth, and they might do it to a juve or something like that. But in the research we find that some gangers and some fighters are just like, oh yeah, this works for me. So I just pump myself up with a little bit of this. I turn myself into a psychotic killing machine for 10, 15 minutes. And the next time I go into battle, I'll just have a little pump of that, maybe just to, just a little bit more.
I'm not addicted. You're addicted.
Oh, mate, it's, for me, as soon as I read that, I'm just like, this is how you create like a crazed killer who has just become addicted to friends on, and is just like some sort of bounty hunter who just absolutely cocoa bananas, and pull the old Khan the Betrayer from Warhammer 40,000 trick where roll a 1 to hit in close combat and he's punching his own dudes. It's a cool bounty hunter. That'd be sick.
That is a great idea. He's literally only doing bounties because he just needs more friends. No. I am not starting a Venator gang today, sir. No.
I like that idea though. Like, just absolutely.
Talk about it again. Talk about it again. No.
Okay.
No. That Underhive Dad is going to have to start another gang because of that. But I already bullied him into that new Wild Runner gang. All right?
Yeah, true.
Shout out to Underhive Dad and his sick Wild Runners. Yeah, Wild Runners. Sick Wild Runner gang, who are all freaking vampires, by the way. It's the best.
Yeah, it's an awesome looking game. But look, okay, we won't venture too much further down the path of Friends Hunt, otherwise you're going to hear all my cool bounty hunter ideas. So I guess we'll jump into the next drug that we did a bit of research on, which was Ghast. Which we did talk a fair bit about Ghast in the Delacroix episode. It's a very Delacroixan drug. That's for all my fans out there.
Well, Ghast. Ghast has gone through a couple of changes, and a lot of the information we've got here goes back to the old Outlanders rulebook, the old Necromunda Underhive rulebook. A lot of this goes back to N95, back when it was known as Spook. Now, the name's obviously now changed through to Ghast, and so just to make it easier for everything here, we're effectively just changing the word as we could do a read through. So, what do we know about Ghast? Nice and easy. It is an addictive and highly illegal psychic combat drug that is manufactured in Necromunda. And it is created from decayed corpse starch that is actually found beneath the hive cities. Like we mentioned in the Vidalark episode, they have cornered the trade on Ghast. And if the rumours are to be believed, and personally I think they are, they're actually manufacturing, distributing it for House Helmore. We know Gerontius makes a fair bit of coin off the sale of Ghast, not only on Necromunda, but off Necromunda as well. Now, Ghast is processed from the vestigial remains of the oldest kind of corpse starch found on Necromunda. The decayed deposits are now nothing more than a lurid green powder, having been acted on by mutant fungi for thousands of years. It contained a high proportion of recycled human protein, and it is this human essence which is likely to account for the dramatic effects on human psyche. Now, we know what it does. It will effectively unlock latent psychic abilities that you have as an individual. But doing some of the reading on this, I didn't realize this, the way it's actually taken. I always figured it was either a powder or a pill or, whatever.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
different to that.
It
Okay.
is. The drug Gast is taken in liquid form. The ultimate magic potion. Pun on the magic there. When drunk in small amounts, it awakens the imbiber's psychic abilities. When drunk in quantity, it opens the channel between a person's physical body and their soul in the warp. If the individual has a strong soul, it will be drawn into his material body. If he has a weak soul, all psychic energy will be instantly sucked out of him and lost in the void. It is for this reason that gas is a very dangerous substance, and its use viciously repressed by the Imperium. This makes those poor Delark spikers seem like even more badass than what we're already thinking. Like, they're genuinely having their souls run the risk of being ripped out of their body.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's a very scary notion because obviously the warp is a terrible place to be, but it's the notion that you have to be a strong soul. So taking Gast is purely reliant on you as an individual. It's not just like what the effect of the drug is going to do, but then they surely would have to adjust the quantities and whatever to have X amount of effect on you, because it's basically opening your soul up to demons.
Yeah. Well, if you're consuming enough of it, absolutely, like it says, if you consume smaller bits of it, it awakens your psychic abilities, whether that's, like you were so happy to mention last episode, spoon bending or, telekinesis or mind bullets or pyrokinesis, whatever. Drink enough of it and your soul's ripped out of your body, and Kamoth, or the demon of Khorne, takes over your body and turns your hive into a living pile of flesh and metal.
Yeah, right.
You got to find that nice,
you got to find a happy balance
of Gast and cola or whatever it is you're drinking.
Gast and cola.
I'll have 2 Gast and Cokes, thanks. Go easy on the ice.
Yeah, yeah, the old the Delacroix bar, right?
He's had 6 of them. Take him downstairs and strap him to that gurney.
Yeah, we got ourselves another spiker. Well, do you know what? When we talk about this drug and how dangerous and how malevolent it is,
that's a good M word.
No, but it actually makes Friends On sound not too bad. Like, I'd be like,
Friends On just turns you into a corpse grinder cultist.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. Whereas this turns you into a tasty soul for Slanesh for however long.
For maybe whatever the demon's watching.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't believe that it's actually sold. Like, it's actually a drug that is put out there. The people selling it, they're the worst.
That's Delark.
They're pretty naughty.
Allegedly,
yes, of course.
Well, another great part from this read is Gast actually became popular among the nobility, who reveled in its exotic effects, and it slowly filtered down throughout hive society. Now, I like to think that, these rich brats would be at parties taking tiny bits of Gast here and there.
Yeah, it has to be tiny bits.
Yeah,
because it can't be what we mentioned earlier. Otherwise, you'd have a drug that's wiping out potentially half or more than half, because not all of them would be strong souls.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you'd be killing so many with just one drug. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but inevitably it goes past, something you're doing for fun, and people see the sheer amount of money that is there to be made from this, which is why there's obviously such a rampant gas trade on Necromunda. And Something I really like here. It's not just the bald mayonnaise smelling lads and lasses making all the money from selling Gast, and not even just the Imperial House. Small quantities of Gast are also found and traded by scavvies who stumble on eroded deposits during their delvings. This actually accounts for a small amount of wild Gast that is traded in the Undercity and Shanties. Imperial agents trying to track the Gast to its source usually end up following the scavvy Gast and thereby miss the main source, as there is actually nothing that connects the nobility to this scavvy tainted Gast. So they're finding it in their own little searches for food or weapons or shelter or whatever. And then inevitably, we know scabbies, they're not all just deranged mutants. There's obviously a certain amount of placidity that can be found within a scabby tribe. And depending on the settlement, they may even be open to trading with said scabbies. And if the scabbies know that the green powder is worth something to the humans, they'll trade it to them. They'll trade it for food or weapons or whatever. And that just shows that everyone on Necromunda is somewhat susceptible to selling these narcotics.
Yeah, okay. So that's I guess that's a broader spectrum. It is the drug trade, and even the scabbies get themselves involved in it, even though they are probably more inclined to just try and survive. Necromunda, but they see the advantage and the possibility of improving their station. But Gast itself it seems like such a terrible drug and a horrendous thing to have present within your hive. And even if it's just a small element or a small part of your community, you'd want to try and stomp it out as soon as possible. And from that,
you wouldn't, because then you are going to deprive yourself of mind bullets.
No, but from that, gang idea.
No.
Just you be quiet, sir. I have a brilliant gang idea. It's a very simple one, very quick one, I promise.
Deluxe scabbies.
No. Even better than that. Palanite ATF. They hunt down gas sellers.
No, it'd be DEA.
DEA, sorry.
Yeah,
yep,
DEA.
I got it wrong.
Because I immediately thought of Hank from Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Yes.
I literally want a scabby with the Walter White hat and glasses and goatee.
That actually would be better as a dumb crime.
His name would be Waldron Wide, and he would be the leader of his little scabby band, and you can do an enforcer group led by just a large, angry, bald man with, I'm just picturing him with 6 shooters.
Yes.
100%.
Okay. It's a good gang idea. DEA, but Palanites. But then it would work counterintuitively because Helmore's the one pushing the gas trade anyway. He's the one who's selling it.
They'd seize the drugs and then send it to their precinct house, and the precinct house would then give it back to Waldron Wide, who would then sell it in the local hive market, bring the money back to the hive. And then they would just arrest a handful of little minor players. We got them. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. We're not saying that all Palanite enforcers are corrupt, but we're not saying it.
They're definitely corrupt.
They're definitely corrupt.
We're not going down this pathway, but they're one of the worst.
Lorekeepers. The Lorekeepers were fine, upstanding folks.
No, they weren't. They were
not. They were not. I had open dealings with Chaos cults.
Yes, naughty, magnificent 7. That's what they were. But yeah,
move on.
Move on from Gast. No. I could talk quite a lot about Gast. Yes. Oh, sorry. Move on from
outing my enforcers as Chaos cultists.
Yes, but Gast is an amazing drug. It's as bad as it is. It's an amazing drug because it's awakening the psychic potential of humans. And who's renowned for wanting to awaken the psychic potential of humans?
our favourite group of absolute nutcases, the Immortal Cult.
Yes. So they're known for getting their hands on vast quantities of this for their rituals or expansion of the cult. But they would froth over this stuff. They would
Yeah, but
absolutely.
then they didn't do anything. They had that big ritual, and I specifically remember saying to you, "Hey, are we going to the ritual?" And you're like, "Yeah, but nothing ever happens to these things." And then nothing happened. Nothing happened. The Inquisition ruined it, and then now we're back here. What
Yeah,
were they doing? I forget.
I think it's something to do with the Northern Hives.
The what?
Don't worry about them. But I love the idea that you could have this vast trade. Gas sort of almost goes beyond the idea of trade and making money. It's one of the few things that when we talk about, I don't see it as like it's important for Helmore and it's important for the Delacroix and it makes a lot of money and all that. But it's almost a drug you take to escape the Imperium in a way. You know?
I see where you're going.
Hmm.
I definitely agree with you in the fact that it's incredibly important to the Imperial House because it's illegal everywhere.
Yeah.
It is illegal throughout the entirety of the Imperium. Probably the only ones who would be allowed to have access to it readily.
Hmm.
The Inquisition, maybe Space Marines. I can't imagine Space Marines being like, 6 Gast and Cokes, thanks. But yeah, your Inquisition types, you're basically your outside the law types, which when it comes to humans is really just the Inquisition, I guess. Ordos Hereticus would probably be the big ones there. Maybe Malleus. I can't imagine Ordos, Xenos ripping lines of this. No, it's a potion. I forget. It's a potion.
It's still funny that they'd rip
It is.
lines of a
It is
potion.
still funny.
But it's manufactured on Necromunda, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
No, it's an incredible, powerful drug manufactured on Necromunda. Would there be some sort of Ghast-like thing that would be on another planet as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You simply need the same mix of old corpse starch and fungus feeding off it.
Right. So you could have
Yeah.
variation. See, again, I'll harp back to Friends On. So Friends On, it's clear, it's direct. You know what you're going to get. Inject yourself with that psycho bananas, right? But when you take Ghast is a completely different element. You're opening up the door to so much more terrible stuff, and it's completely understandable why the Auto Heroticus would just be kicking down doors for this stuff.
But think about it this way.
Hmm.
The Ordos Hereticus do exactly what you say. They kick down doors for it. They want it because your Puritan Ordos Hereticus guy wants to find it and destroy it.
Mhm.
Your Radical wants to use it to increase his or her own psychic potential or that of their acolytes.
Yeah.
Or make psychers. Or
make a demon host.
Or find a bunch of, prisoners with jobs and give them a whole mess of Ghast and then feed their souls to the Emperor. Because why waste time waiting for a black ship when you can now create psychers and you're effectively creating a... Oh my god, I'm going into some...
This is some dark stuff, bro.
I'm going into a weird... Okay, so...
You're talking about farming, basically.
I'm talking about farming people's souls for the Emperor.
Wow.
Did I just become a living saint? Did I just save the Imperium? Okay. Campaign idea. And I'm not talking for Necromunda. I'm talking for the Imperium. They got to get all the Ghast. Get a whole bunch of, volunteers. And I'm really stretching that word. Give them Ghast. And then strap them into, the food trough that the Emperor uses for souls.
Yeah,
Next
his
thing you
little
know,
Bay Marie.
exactly, just a lazy Susan of souls. He's awake within a week because
All right.
instead of like the 10,000 a day, you can deliver him up 100,000. It is an all-you-can-eat buffet. He's up and he's back. He's back, baby. The
I know it's grim
Tyranids turn
dark.
around and leave. This isn't grim dark. This is grim midnight. All right. This is grim midnight in the middle of nowhere, cloudy sky. You don't even have starlight.
This is horrible.
This is horrific. This is a genuine
Actually,
option they could go with. And this is the sort of stuff as to why Ghast is illegal throughout the Imperium, which is why allegedly the Delark gather it for the Imperial House, who allegedly sells it for huge amounts of money, which I believe allegedly would allow him an easier way to present his tithe to the Adeptus Terra.
what?
The money made from selling Ghast would be part of the taxes he would pay to the Imperium.
Oh, right. Oh, Jesus.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right. Okay. Right. I get what you're saying. So you're talking about purely just for money pouring in. I always imagine the tithe as like, I don't know why. I always imagine the tithe as equipment and manpower.
Yeah, every
Power.
planet pays a tithe of, I believe, manpower, and then
Mhm.
depending on what the planet does,
Mm,
for example, agri-worlds, their
mm.
tithe is food.
Yeah, of course, that
Manufactorium
makes sense.
worlds,
Yeah.
they're like Necromunda,
Mm,
their tithe is typically weapons,
mm,
bullets, energy
mm.
cells. But
And
I
gas.
also and Ghast.
No, I'm
Uh,
joking.
but I genuinely believe part of their tithe could be subsidized with cold hard cash. Or he uses the cash to bribe people to say, hey, produce more. Make your prisoners with jobs work just a little bit harder. And if they have a very long sleep afterwards, that's okay. We can buy more.
We are not going to explore this question, but a question has popped into my head. What value is money in a tithe? To me, it has no value. It means nothing.
Okay, well then maybe the money doesn't go to the Imperium, but the Imperial cult. Maybe it goes to the church.
Oh, okay, like the
Yeah,
ecclesiarchy.
the ecclesiarchy would. The
Right.
ecclesiarchy have tithes as well. People forget that.
Oh, yeah, right. So then you have the money for the ecclesiarchy. The ecclesiarchy are then able to use those resources to build more ships, to recruit more,
For
whatever.
ships and
Yeah,
temples.
okay.
You got to remember that's one of the huge things. And listeners, I know you came here to hear us talk about space cocaine, but we're also talking about some Age of Apostasy stuff here. This is one of the big things Goj Vandaya did during the Reign of Blood. He was tithing and he was
That's
causing planet.
right.
Remember, they were paying so much where
Hmm,
those repression fleets were going to planets and saying, hey,
hmm.
you have to pay your tithe. They're like, we've never made this much money. How can we pay it to you? It's like,
Yeah,
well, now we've got to punch you in the face until you have that money. But we're not going
yeah,
to have the smack.
yeah.
Yeah, who's to
That's
say
right.
that this money isn't being paid towards the ecclesiarchy? Or, hell, it might just be the easiest way to produce wages for your enforcers and your nobles. Like, at the end of
Mm.
the day, nothing can be used like money. Like money.
But you look, yeah, it's true. I mean, this stems from the idea that I've always thought of the tithe as being people and
Yeah.
equipment and something material, never actually financial. It's very, you've opened up a part of my brain regarding the imperial tithe
Yeah.
because I just never looked at it as a
Yeah.
financial thing. Because what is the value of vast amounts of money if you don't have the soldiers to defend or to go off and attack or whatever? I guess it's just the 40K brain in me going, you need to have bodies on the
Yeah.
ground. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we know Necromunda doesn't really produce much food. That money is what purchases food from said
Oh,
agri-worlds earlier.
of
The you
course.
know
Of course. Yes.
the real people eat food. The rest of us eat each other.
Yeah, it's about keeping the cogs turning. And then, but then everything then that is about Necromunda, about keeping the wheels spinning, the cogs turning. a l- So much of that would be related to gas then, because so much of their imperial tithe couldn't be sort of, I guess, as you say, monetized in a way. It has to go to the Imperium, and it is a gift to the Imperium. So the money that they would make off Gast is what would keep Necromunda functioning.
In my mind, yeah.
So it's better than Friends On. I get it. I get it now.
You know what's you said this episodes ago, and I keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
The real bad guy on Necromunda.
Oh, 100%.
Capitalism.
Yeah, 100%.
It's capitalism.
And the face of that is Captain Naughty No Good himself, bloody Lord
You mean
Helmore.
Blinky? Oh, wait, no.
Not Blinky, yeah.
No, not Blinky. Wrong episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gast. Gast is crazy, and it's insane because when you look at it, we've mentioned them a couple of times, the Forbidden Cities, and it's when you talk about the Forbidden Cities, I want to talk about them eventually in sort of greater detail, but they are literally run by people known as the Ghast Lords, where all they do is farm Ghast generation after generation. And their workforce, in a lot of cases, quite literally is what we call prisoners with jobs. They are people who are snatched up and forced to work in these Forbidden Cities. And, you know, it's ridiculous. And yeah, the immortal cult, it says in a couple of different places that a lot of those Ghast Lords are members of the immortal cult.
Oh, right, which makes sense. Like,
yeah,
they need that stuff to manufacture their outcomes. So, of course, they would have that.
So, obviously, chaos cults and the like would have amazing links to anything that can make you more psychic.
Yeah, anything that can get you touched by a demon.
Yeah.
One last question about Ghast that has popped into my head.
Yes.
Surely there would be different qualities of Ghast then, because
100%.
The best stuff would be made from the oldest, what do they call it? The decayed synth diet?
It's corpse
starch. Yeah. So that's the best stuff. So there would be almost like a whiskey. You know what I mean? You'd have different ages.
Ooh, this 276 is tangy tonight.
Yeah.
I think it would also be it would come down to the refinement process, because they're scraping it off this decaying corpse starch, and the fungus, stronger fungus may produce stronger Ghast. Older corpse starch, like you've mentioned there, may produce better Ghast. We don't know, but 100%, I have no shadow of a doubt that there would be different qualities and different strengths of Ghast, much like any other narcotic.
Yeah, but I think the idea that, you either get ripped into the void or you don't, I think is the total or the most extreme example of what this drug can do to you. There would be a lot of variations on what it could actually do and how it pushes and motivates the psychic element within inside of you to potentially bend a spoon or get consumed by a demon. What
do they call it? Timosi? I don't know. That corn demon, something Timmy, the Bloodlord of Skulls.
Yeah.
Well, we have talked a lot about Ghast there. So, long and the short of it, do Ghast and you will be able to bend spoons. Do too much and you will be a demon.
Or at least demon food.
Or at least demon food. So, yeah, why don't you take us into the next one?
Same level as Ghast, necrotic slime. This usually attaches itself to a victim's head when they're asleep or when it is slowly absorbed through the flesh into the brain. Without any ability to defend itself, it releases a psychochemical stimulus into the host system, producing a sense of euphoria and feeling of power, preventing the victim from moving it because they simply have no desire to want to remove it. So once inside the host brain, the slime reproduces by basically creating a cyst. So almost like in a parasitic type of way. Yeah. And then from that, millions of offspring emerge from their shells as it divides over and over, sustaining themselves by devouring the neural matter of psychic and physical nutrition, which is very interesting. They're going for both, so maybe they're little afflicted things. So eventually the host is reduced to a drooling, gibbering sort of state until after only a couple of hours, the sheer numbers of the feeding and engorged larval slimes crack open the victim's skull. There's one hell of a way to go.
That is disgusting.
Now, it's this larval state of the slime that is extremely small, only millimeters across, but those that survive grow quickly by repeating this process with increasingly larger organisms.
Okay, stop. Yuck, this is gross. So you've told us that it straps itself onto someone's head and it bursts out like if you see that movie 8-Legged Freaks with David Arquette, like when the spiders erupt out of the body. Okay, I'm picturing that, but with like phlegm. So please, can you go to the next part where you explain how this is actually a drug?
So the way it's used as a drug is that euphoric state is what people are trying to get within themselves, but it also creates mental and physical benefits, so enhancements, for use of a better term, for the person who's currently, I guess, going through the process of having something forming a cyst within inside their brain. Now, I guess the obvious question is then, how do they avoid their impending doom, their death that is coming? So, depending on what the person has,
wear a hat instead of strapping one of these things. Do friends on like a normal person?
Well, I guess this is like the marrying of two things, because it provides the mental and the physical aspects, not just the physical aspect, but it's that state of euphoria as well. So they're like they're enhanced, but they're stoked about it. They're like, this is awesome. Everything is brilliant. I love Underhive rats.
I love the tiny flames that are growing in my brain.
Yeah, exactly. So, as I was mentioning, they need to be able to avoid the actual like skull explosion. So the methods that we see in the read is that they can have a friend standing by who will try to remove the slime before it begins to reproduce properly. So, which is, I mean, you'd want a pretty cluey scientific friend standing by who's doing that, and a very good friend, which I think is
I mean, are you looking at it? You just like, okay, I can see he's really getting into it now. Should I rip it off? Don't pull it off yet. He's not happy enough. You get distracted. You know, you can imagine some just absolute meat neck getting distracted by like a shiny light, or he wants to do a quick, bench press session. And next thing you know, Timmy Two Clubs has had his brain chewed out by the phlegm monsters.
Well, they actually say that it if you don't get the timing right, it hardens. Its outer surface becomes hardened, and you need like proper major surgery to remove it. So there's also like anti-parasitic drugs. So yeah, you need a good friend standing by. So you can use the anti-parasitic drugs to try and kill it before it's got to the point of no return. I mean, they're pretty rudimentary ways to make this drug work for you. So in the upper hive, they sort of have a bit more like, I don't know, a bit more safety when using this particular drug, because they have good servants or what have you, dog's bodies standing by who are going to do it. They also have better access to medical treatments. So there's actually like, they use it with almost a sense of complete safety. They're like, yeah, we'll get that euphoric hit off it, or the mild physical and mental enhancements we're going to draw from it as well. Whereas I guess in the Underhive, it's sort of like uh, a bit of a gamble, I guess, more than anything else. So yeah, it is a drug, but it is a very, very dangerous drug to take, basically putting a parasite within yourself and allowing it to take hold of you.
Well, it's in sort of a lyrical respect. Yeah, it's euphoric and they're happy and they're ignoring the fact that there's now apparently a hardened slime mooching into their brain.
Mm.
But sort of in game, and we haven't really touched on these with anything so far. When you use aquatic slime, you make a characteristics check for your movement, strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, and cool characteristics. And then for each one you pass, you just improve that by D3.
Wow.
Like you just become better. And don't get me wrong, what is that? Movement, strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, and cool. Of those 6 options, let's say you pass half of them.
Mm.
You can get up to 3 extra. Can you imagine just rolling, I don't know, movement, strength, and attacks, where you just get +3 on all of those? Like, it'd be a 1 in a million. But
what somebody and that's just for the rest of the game.
for the rest of the game.
That's bonkers.
For the rest of the game.
What's the negative? There has to be a negative from this.
Oh, yeah. So, this is going to the 2023 rulebook. Whilst under the effects of aquatic slime, the fighter's leadership, intelligence, and willpower are decreased to a 10+, unless these are already worse than this, at which point they stay worse. But at the end of any battle in which a fighter used aquatic slime, roll 2d6 for that fighter. On a roll of a 2, the slime eats the fighter's brain, and they are killed. Immediately remove them from the gang roster. On a roll of 3 to 11, the slime is successfully removed, but the fighter goes into recovery, which, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, someone's just used a pair of pliers to rip a rapidly hardening brain parasite from your head.
Mm-hmm.
And on a roll of a 12, it's taken off, but not without complications. You have to roll on the lasting injury table, re-rolling results of bitter enmity, captured, critical injury, and memorable death. So,
wow,
it might blind you or something like that, but you had a good day, and that's what's important.
Wow. So just the lore side of it, you're like, I wouldn't touch it. And the game side of it, I'd be like, oh, I mean, gangers to have that happen to them? That is monstrous.
You want to get a bunch of juves, you want to get each of them aquatic slime, and just be like, charge, lads. Charge. Get them aquatic slime, friends on collars, and just give them all gassed. Done. Done.
Yeah, righto. Okay. And then goodbye gang after like 2 or 3 rounds.
Is it for a good time, not a long time, buddy?
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's obviously not addictive because you rip it off and that's it. So
your brain explodes.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that euphoric state would probably become addictive, like from a lore aspect.
100%. Which is why when you started talking about the Uphivers using it, you're like, yeah, it's not as dangerous for them. And no, it wouldn't be as dangerous for them. They would have real doctors and medical centers and all that sort of stuff. They'd be able to get around those pesky complications. But you can just imagine, like you mentioned before, they'd have servants and dogs' bodies and that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely. They're fine with it. But, us, scum of the under earth down near the sump, we don't. We've just got, hopefully a buddy that's not too drunk to rip that thing off our head.
Yeah, exactly. Or not, who's not decided, I'll just have a little bit myself. And then they're both stuffed. Yeah, that euphoric state that is gained, and what we talk about up in the upper hive as well, and they're all protected and safe from it. I guess that's a good lead into the other drug, karma, which sort of is given away in the name, but that's sort of like a euphoric drug as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So Karma is the hive name for a general group of euphoric sedatives, which lowers the state of consciousness and induce a state of well-being. Karma is sometimes used to sedate prisoners so that they can be led away quickly and easily by enforcers. So it's like, I don't know, sleepy gas pills, liquid.
Yeah, a little bit of laughing gas.
Yeah, it's
All that.
laughing gas. It's laughing gas. You're just like, yeah, I get it. You caught me. You
I've been
caught
a naughty,
yeah,
no good. You got me.
you caught Timmy Two Knives of the Timmytown Locos and Timmytown Locos gang idea. And yeah, you're taking me to what was it? The Zalctra prison hive. That's cool. Yeah, man. What's that? Breathing deep. You got it, boss. It's definitely something you would be giving to people you want to chill out. I would personally love to put this into a cam dart rifle and just start shooting it at people across the board. To just have them just be too stoned to fight back.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that was a crazy gunfight. Like I'm not
Yeah.
involved with this. Actually, speaking of, does it have rules in the game?
Oh
Or
yeah, it definitely does. So, in addition to other methods of use, a gang can give karma to a fighter they hold captive during the rescue scenario. And when a fighter affected by karma wishes to make an action, roll a 2d6 for them and add their toughness. On a roll of 11 or lower, they do nothing and the action is wasted. But on a roll of 12 or more, they shake off the effects of the chem and can act normally for the remainder of the battle.
wow.
You're basically dumbing them down. They're just
Yep.
nothing really seems to worry them
Mhm.
until you roll that 12 or more.
Yeah. Okay.
And they sort of hold on, slap themselves across the face. What the hell's
Well,
going on? All right,
I'm in
what's wrong?
Zeltra. Yeah.
I'm in Zalcra. Time for me to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're about to see what Timmy Two Knives of the Timmytown Locos can really do.
I'm not going to lie to you, brother. I want to know about. I don't care about Timmy Two Knives. I don't care about the locos. I actually just care about Timmytown.
Timmytown. It's the name of it. It's actually now because of that statement there. I don't know where Timmytown Locos came from. I'm going to name the settlement for my next gang Timmytown, and it was started. It was actually founded in mid M29 by the original Timmy Helmore. It was actually founded by Baron Thaddeus von Timmis, who founded Timmytown after fleeing false persecution, by the Imperial House under suspect of the manufacture and distribution of gas.
Brilliant.
Boom.
Genius.
I've just given you law for Timmytown.
That's
And just where
fantastic.
my new gang, the Timmytown Locos, led by Timmy Two Knives.
Yeah.
Come on, keep up, mate. Keep up.
I'm sorry. I'm aware that alliteration in Necromunda is the most important thing.
And capitalism.
And capital, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, Geronti. Yes, I nearly dropped the ball there. So karma, yeah, it's a cool drug, but it's just like a sedative, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Can you can shoot drugs at people, can't you? Yeah.
No, okay.
Needler with a needle rifle. Yeah. Yeah, you can. I've never played Escher. I have no idea how needle rifles work.
No, but they just got like a toxin thing. I don't think you can actually put a toxin in there. Happy to be corrected, audience.
Yes, I'm an idiot. Of course you can. Needle rifles have the special rule chem delivery. And let's bring it up here. Here, when a weapon with the chem delivery trait is used, the fighter declares what kind of chem they're firing at the target. This can be any chem the fighter is equipped with.
Oh, wow.
Note that firing the weapon does not cost a dose of the chem, and that friendly fighters cannot be targeted. Or, if the weapon also has the toxin or gas traits, the fighter can use these traits instead. Instead of making a wound roll for a chem delivery attack, roll a d6. If the result is equal to or higher than the target's toughness, or is a natural 6, the target is affected by the chosen chem just as if they'd taken a dose. If the roll is lower than the target's toughness, they shrug off the chem's effects. You can fire ghast at people. You can you can shoot ghast at them and force them to be psychers.
Yeah, well, wait a second. Can you fire karma?
Of course you can. You can buy karma, give it to a ganger, give them a needle rifle, and you can stand there firing like laughing gas at people. So they then have to roll that 2d6 before they can. Oh man, this episode has just taken a drastic turn as to what we're focusing on. Let's talk about the best ways you can drug up your opponents.
This is the dark arts. This is all the stuff that I'm like, oh, that feels really wrong to do, but it's so cool. Firing karma just across the battlefield, just turning just everybody into like just mindless euphoric zombies of just like, oh yeah, really great. Just got stung by something, but that's okay. Life's good.
But then obviously we were going to talk about this at the end, but we bring it up now with addiction, like.
Oh, wow. Yes.
You can get them addicted to chems. Oh, man.
So you just have to find the right chem that has an addictive quality to it, and you shoot your opponent's gangers with them. All you do, load up on needle rifles, shoot a whole bunch of chems, and then just voluntarily bottle, and just be like, good luck on the campaign, Chief.
So, if you've hit them with one chem, right? And then you shoot them with a second chem, they're mixing the chems, or that's obviously they all have side effects. Ooh. Now, you can do that. So each time a fighter takes a chem while under the effects of one or more other chems, via needle rifles, as we've already said, roll a d6. If the result is equal to or less than the number of chems the fighter has taken, the fighter has had a bad reaction. The fighter immediately goes out of action, though no roll is made on lasting injuries. Rather, they go into recovery. Oh, man.
Okay. You crazy man. What are you thinking?
It'd be expensive, but you get a Van Sar gang, like all your leader and your champions, you're looking at that 2-3+ ballistic skill.
You choose the worst gang. Yep.
Get them a whole mess of drugs and literally just spend your whole time doing exactly what you said. You just keep hitting them. You focus on this character, then this character, then this character.
Yeah.
And just put them down, because these side effects, some of them are insane. Like, can you imagine hitting them with a necrotic slime, and then no matter what, if they're playing me one round or one part of the campaign, and then you're going to be their next opponent, you can pay me to hit them with these chems. It's like necrotic slimes. It's only 35 credits. It's not even expensive. You hit them with necrotic slimes, they effectively become slimed. No matter what, unless they roll a 2, they're out of action. You're cutting their gang down multiple members. And then, karma has no long-term effects, no side effects. That's fine.
Okay, yeah.
What were the side effects of Friends-On? Friends-On is highly addictive. During the wrap-up, any fighter who used Friends-On must make a toughness check, adding 2 to the dice roll. If the check is failed, the fighter has become addicted to Friends-On. Once a fighter is addicted to Frenzon, they can only be included in a crew if they have taken a dose of the chem. The
Oh
only way
my
to pay
god.
the only way a fighter can shake this addiction is to pay 2d6 times 10 for anti-addiction chems during the post-battle sequence when the gang is buying equipment. Frenzon is 20 credits. A needle rifle is 40 credits.
Yeah, but what's its rarity?
9.
It's
That's doable.
It's very doable, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you buy a whole mess of friends on, just start pumping, and you pick gangs with crappy toughness. I hate to say it. Vansar, Cawdor,
Yeah.
I think Delark are only toughness 3.
Yeah. Most gangs are only toughness 3. Yeah.
Yeah, except the meatnecks.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do that, and you literally just get your opponent's gang addicted to friends on. They're either having to buy friends on, which is 20 credits, or they have to pay up to 120 credits to basically put their gangers through rehab.
I want to just put a caveat to everything we're talking about here. This is not the way to play this game.
No.
It's so horrible.
What do we call it? How to lose friends and alienate people?
Yeah, exactly.
This is how to play like a scumbag.
Yeah, this is practicing the dark arts of Necromunda. Do not do it. It is absolutely vile. If you do happen to do it, though, tell us about it. And
please tell us about it.
Show us your opponent's face once they realize what you're doing to them.
Okay, if you're going the illegal route and you buy Ghast, it's only 30 credits. At the end of that, you have to make a willpower test. If they fail it, they suffer a decrease of 1 for their willpower. But if they roll a natural 12, their mind is permanently damaged and they must begin the future battles subject to the insane condition.
Oh.
So you've literally given them the double Ghast and Coke, and it's melted their brain. Oh man, what were we talking about? Karma.
We were talking about karma, and we've gone the complete opposite way of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy. Karma is 15 credits. It is not even illegal or rare. It is just like, go for it, my son. It is 15 credits. I can shoot sleepy potions at people.
This is the most god awful thing to do to your opponent. Just shooting them up.
I'm not doing it to an opponent. I'm going to do it to you. I'm going to get you back for deleting that Vansar episode. I am going to ruin your gang by putting them all to sleep.
I know I can tell you what's going to happen the next time we play a game. It will just be loaded up on needle rifles. It'd be like, oh yeah, it's a lasgun. No, it's a needle rifle. Don't worry about it. Everybody's got needle rifles, and everybody's rocking some sort of chem to fire across the table. This is the most horrendous thing I've heard from you in a very long time. This is so bad. No, I do not approve.
I'm really looking forward to this.
I do not approve. It is so bad. Oh my lord. No.
I'm going to write a new gang list, and I would like for you to read the next entry.
Let's move away from this. The next thing we're talking about, put this in your bloody needle rifle. The next one is low sticks. Basically, a cigarette, for use of a better term, or an e-cigarette, I guess. Oh, it's not even an e-cigarette. So made of rolled paper containing scented plant-derived substance. It's a cigarette. Yeah, we do not approve. Smoking is bad.
Punch a dart in the 41st millennium.
Yeah, don't punch darts. They're terrible. So it causes a mildly narcotic sensation. So I guess that little bit of euphoria is what we're sort of getting the vibe of a lot of the drugs. They're addictive and common amongst the Imperial Guard and menial workers, and they actually are mentioned in the Imperial Infantryman's Primer.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they're mentioned in that. So they're vast across the Imperium as well. They come in narc tubes and are smoked through numerous forms of filters, depending on location in the galaxy. Low is either a tolerated recreational item or shunned and forbidden narcotic. It is favoured by the Imperial Guard and PDF as a cheap way to relax before, during, and after combat. So it does give that like little kick of, oh yeah, things aren't so bad right now. And so the low stub is a slightly different version of the low stick. It is much longer and it's a cigar. Is a much longer and thicker, similar to ancient Terran cigar. It says it there. Lord Castellan Ursakar Creed of Cadia was known to smoke low stubs. So
I love it. It's much like it's a cigar. It's a just say cigar.
Yeah. It's a cigar. So we got cigarettes and cigars. Don't do them. They're bad. They're good. They're not good for you. But apparently, in some areas of 41st millennium, they're perfectly fine. And actually, there's the famous. There's one bit on the Goliath gang frame.
Oh my god, the cigar.
The cigar.
Okay, I'm not even kidding. One of those is somewhere on, like, in the weird gag rug I have under my chair here. Yeah. One of them is in here somewhere because I was trying to put one onto one of my enforcers, snipped it, and it naturally shot off in 9 different directions. Yeah.
It's the exact same thing happened with me. I had it from a Goliath frame that I had, and I was like, I'm just going to cut this off, and I want to put it onto one of my Valhallan sergeants, and vanished into the wind, never to be seen again. So, proof that not even the modelling gods want us to
smoke. Well, I think it's great because in the rulebook, a fighter equipped with low sticks is considered to be cool by the more gullible members of their gang. Games Workshop throwing shade on smokers. Love it. Any friendly fighter with an intelligence characteristic of 8+ or worse may use this fighter's cool characteristic instead of their own if they are within 6 inches and line of sight of this fighter. So basically you have to be dumb and you can be like, well, you know, Timmy Two Knives is punching that dart pretty hard. He looks pretty sick. I'm going to hang out with him and not run away. Yes, I understand those 3 Van Sara have been peppering me with plasma fire for the last 40 minutes, but Two Knives seems pretty chilled.
I don't think it's plasma fire. No, I think it's
karma.
Needle. It's just. I love there's a movement to move away from plasma rifles and las rifles for the Van Sara. It's just all needlers and all drugs. Yeah. But what I like about that is you've got to have line of sight as well. But for me, the image I get of this person or this ganger just like dragging on their smoke it's a meme of Matthew McConaughey, and it's just like anybody who's smoking in Necromunda is pulling that face. Nobody. What is going on? Why am I here? What is happening to me?
Why did I get out of bed this morning? I should have just stayed at Hovel.
Yeah, exactly. I should have stayed in Timmytown. I think that's about enough of talk about cigarettes and cigars in 40k. I mean, yeah, they're obvious. I like the rules for them. That's actually probably the most law appropriate rules I've heard for.
Got to be dumb to like them.
Yeah, you just feel like you're easily drawn in by somebody who's smoking. Yep, you can use his level of coolness even though you're getting peppered. You know. What was the next one we're going to move? We'll just move on.
You can't stick a low stick in a needler, so I'm not interested. I don't think it'd fit. The next one up is Obscura. Now, Obscura produces a pleasant and dreamlike state, which lasts a few hours, but then turns into a deep depression once it wears off, unless another dose is taken. It is highly addictive and has been known to be smoked and injected directly into the bloodstream. It is found amongst all classes of civilians and military personnel in the Imperium, and many smugglers make a good living by importing and selling the illegal substance. It is found amongst the middle and upper class citizens of the Imperium, and is used frequently by the followers of Slanesh in ritualistic activities. Obscura dens are fairly common in heavily populated areas within hives and are notorious for being a frequented area by the less desirables found in every hive. Now, what is that going to do when I stick that into a needle rifle? Now,
I'm just going to say I prefer the pathway that the carriage took you on. The carriage took you on, sorry.
wait,
This is
am I allowed to start talking about
no,
the
no, you're not. I do prefer that pathway to this
Are
crazy
you
person.
making a link between the narcotics trade on Necromunda and the Caryatid Under Empire? Because this just might be the link that breaks me.
If you're saying they're in an under empire, that would give the concept that they could be a fungus because that's where fungi grow.
You mean fungi like orcs?
Yes, exactly.
Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Now,
Anyway, Obscura in guns.
So a fighter under the influence of Obscura changes their movement characteristic to D6, and all their weapons count as having the reckless trait. So they're so off chops that they can't run properly. They're stumbling around, and occasionally, if they swing their weapon, they're going to brain the poor bloke standing next to them. Now, note, when they move, a fighter under the influence of Obscura must move the full distance rolled in a straight line. Even if this would take them into base contact with an enemy fighter, in which case they will engage that enemy fighter or over the edge of a ledge.
That's crazy. That actually sounds more like drunk as a skunk.
Yeah.
Like bump into somebody, like, oh, well, go on then, I'll have you.
Yeah. Fighters under the influence of Obscura must still respect the 1-inch rule. If they cannot get into base contact with an enemy fighter when moving, they must stop 1 inch away. Now, much like earlier, roll 2d6, add their toughness. If the result is 12 or more, they do shake off the effects of that chem. Now, what are we doing here? So, when a dose of Obscura wears off, the fighter enters a deep melancholy and they may only perform a single action in each of their activations for the remainder of the battle. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you've been shot by this or you've taken it, I can't imagine why you'd take it, or you've been given it, whatever. Even after you've rolled that 12 and you've shaken it off, you can only do one thing. So no charging.
Mm-hmm.
No. During the wrap-up, any fighter who used Obscura must make a toughness check. If the check has failed, they become addicted to Obscura, and they can only be included on a crew on a D6 roll of 4+ prior to the battle. And once again, you're shaking that addiction, 2d6 times 10. You're sending them off to the clinic.
Let me pause you here, and this is something for the listeners right now. I hope you can all hear it in his voice, how giddy and happy he is about this, but I can see him, and he has got the look of an absolute psychopath at the moment. He's just like, next drug, what can the next drug do? What's the next drug in my needler? You absolute banana. Like this isn't even about the law anymore. This is about all the drugs you can stick into a needle rifle.
I resemble that accusation, sir.
You resemble that. That's very true.
I am just saying that I find it a little bit strange that you are willing to make such baseless and frankly upsetting allegations about me. I'm naturally this giddy.
Rubbish. Anyway, what I don't understand, who's taking Obscura in a battle?
No, that's the thing. You would really be giving Obscura to people you have captured. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
you can give Obscura to a fighter you hold captive, or you slap that bad boy in a needle rifle.
This is your Einstein moment, isn't it? It's like, I've come up with the best idea.
think about it this way. I really don't want to go into this yet, but the needle rifle, all right, something that somehow has completely just hid underneath my radar up until right now is Rare 9. Okay, Rare 9.
Uh-huh.
And if you do let's say, Venator gang, your hunt leader can have any common or rare equipment with a value of up to and including 11. All right.
Uh-huh.
Your hunt champions up to 10. So I can literally start. So if I go the option 4, where my hunt leader is like ballistic skill 2+, and my hunt champions are ballistic skill 2+, I could viably do a Venator gang.
Yep.
Who are all like the hierarchy have needlers and just a whole mess of Obscura and friends on. Like,
okay. 2 points derived from this.
yes.
Number one, we're doing a lore episode on drugs, so
Yes.
we'll maybe circle back around to that at some stage.
Yes.
Number two, this gang though is all just actual drug dealers on Necromunda.
Correct, yes. They would all be drug dealers creating a new customer base.
Yes.
Gang idea. These are the Timmytown Locos.
Oh yes. What's Timmytown Locos doing then? He's
got 2 knives, but that's backup for when you get too close for the needler.
That's like all you're really doing is just what is it? What is it? Sleight of hand sort of thing. He's called Timmytown Locos, so it's like distraction. That's the word I was looking for. So you're distracting people by calling him Timmytown Locos, and then he rocks up with a needler and just like a suitcase full of different chems he's going to shoot at you.
Yep. And I would model the suitcase, and he'd open it up and be like, well, Obscura. Honestly, my go-to is going to be Obscura because, like, it's 30 credits, but it's double the cost of Karma. I get that, but it's only a legal 8. It's not that bad,
mate. The nonsense you'd be doing to your opponent is worth it.
No, just you. I will refuse to play the Timmytown Locos against anyone else but you. Because I don't even know how we got onto this idea of drugging other people. How have I'm genuinely shocked that with all of our scumbag friends, why has no one played scumbag rules?
I'm thinking the exact same thing. Like the amount of games where I've had been like, okay, no, that I was within charge range. No, you weren't. Okay, whatever. If they had done this to me, I would just be like, I've got a level for respect for you now. Like, that was genius, and you've ruined my campaign. Thank you very much.
I'm not even mad. Mad.
How can you be?
Well played.
Oh wow. Anyway, as I said, let's circle back
to
an actual lore podcast.
Obscura is awesome. It's another. I imagine the like the slave guild, the enforcers, that sort of thing. They're using this on prisoners to basically keep them placid.
Yeah, and it's more of a viable and probably more aggressive drug to use than Karma.
Yeah,
with Karma, they're sort of, it's just purely sedative. This is like, no, we're gonna mess you up. But it's sort of got a bit of a vibe of an opioid or something along those lines. So.
Well, the rulebook literally says it's a recreational narcotic used from the noble hedonistia of the spire to the chem dens of the Underhive.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So it does, it reminds me of opioids, that sort of thing.
Which leave people in that sort of fugue, hazy type state.
Yeah.
And then the fact that Slaanesh rituals also use it as well is a key indicator that it is a naughty, no good drug.
It's
not go anywhere near it.
Naughty, once again, as we said, real life, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, especially Obscura.
Use all of them.
In your needle rifle.
Fire needle rifles. What do we have next? We
Okay,
have Slort.
so Slort, also known as Onslaught, is an imperial drug that heightens awareness and improves reaction time, literally speeding up the user but causing fatigue and neural damage with prolonged use. It is often used by imperial military forces in combat or during other emergencies. It is a crude combat drug made from a dangerous combination of amphetamines and mutant rat adrenal glands. Very
Yummy.
necromunda-ish. Yummy. Slort enhances the individual's fighting abilities, increasing alertness and speed by slowing down a person's perception of the world around them. It is like mega awesome caffeine, basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that is definitely shown in the stats effect in game. Your weapon skill and initiative go up to a 2+, and you get an extra attack.
Wow. So it's like that Futurama episode where Fry pulls all the people out of the burning fire.
Slam.
He
drank all the slam.
Oh, yeah, drank all the slurm. So he's
Yeah.
just grabbing all these people, and he's just moving at a normal speed. But the rest of it, like everybody just sees him going at like lightning speed, and that's exactly what Slort would be doing. Now, just for the sake of completeness, as you've derailed us so completely, can you shoot this one out of your needle rifle?
It's a chem, so yes, you can. Would you want to shoot someone and give them a weapon skill and initiative of 2+, and an extra attack?
Can you shoot your own guys?
No, you can't. You cannot shoot your own guys. But remember, if you shoot them with multiple chems, they may go out of action. So you just want to be really wanting to be stacking those negative side effects, because much like Obscura and was it Friendzone? Yeah, because Friendzone has Slort in it.
Yeah. So that's like the combo drug. This is just one element of it.
So if you
that's actually quite funny, because you could just load them up with have all this Slort. Oh, you're out of action. Oh.
Yeah, have Slort and Obscura and Karma and screw it, Aquatic Slime and Monster Energy Drink.
Yeah.
Monster Energy Drink, please feel free to sponsor us. I promise not to shoot your product into people walking down my street. But during the wrap-up, once again, any fighter who used Slort must make a toughness check. If they've failed it, they become addicted to Slort. And if they don't take Slort before each battle, their weapon skill and initiative are reduced to a 5+. So they basically just become super sluggish in combat, and their attacks also go down to a 1.
So it's basically the reverse effect of whatever benefits they were getting flips onto them, and they potentially become addicted to it as well.
See, but if they are addicted to it and they then take it, they don't get the original benefits of the weapon skill and initiative of 2+ and the +1 to their attacks. If they're addicted and they take Slort, their weapon skill and initiative becomes a 3+, but they gain no bonus to their attacks. So there's still a negative.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, a fighter can shake their addiction to Slort by voluntarily going into recovery during any post-battle sequence. So
go cold turkey.
You're effectively, if you go cold turkey, you're out for a fight. You come back the next week, you're sweet.
Right. So it's I guess with the combination of the rules plus what we know about the law, it's not as an addictive drug.
I wouldn't say it's as addictive, no.
Yeah, so that must be coming from the rat adrenal glands.
Well,
but I love.
Do you think it's just because it might be quote unquote cleaner than some of the other ones?
Yeah, no. When we mention rat adrenal glands, I do think cleanliness. You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, I think it's just it's probably just built as a combat booster drug, and it's not designed to wreck the soldiers. It's designed to, because as I say, it's an imperial drug, so it's almost sanctioned. It's like, yes, this thing's good to go. You shouldn't have it on Necromunda, but you do have it. And basically the Imperium thinks, yep, this thing's fine to use for us.
We're not angry, we're disappointed. Like, we
Yeah.
understand you're going to use it, but we don't want you to.
Yeah.
It's
for our armies only.
It's for our drugged up warrior people.
Quick little side note. Space Marines Onslaught. That's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you not been introduced to our Lord and Savior Fulgrim of the Emperor's Children? The Emperor's Children use Slort as like artificial sweetener in their recaf in the morning before they get on to the real hard stuff. So
it might make the Imperial Fist slightly more interesting if they took any of these drugs.
Just quickly, boo,
of course. Yeah.
No, because you'd give an Imperial Fist a bunch of these drugs, and you'd just be like, "Hey guys, do you guys want to build a fence?"
I've taken some friends on, and I can build this like really quick.
Hear me out, okay? Because I've already built the fence, and I want you guys to come have a look at my fence. Yeah. And they've built like this giant wall around the Palanite cluster. Like, when did you build this? Oh, this morning. Yeah. Me and third company were just like, it'd be cool. Do a bunch of friends on, and let's build a fence. So we built a fence, and we ended the whole succession. It was actually really easy. Like, oh, thanks, dude. You go to high five him, and he just rips your arm off. Be like, sorry, side effect.
Side effect. You lose an arm. Yeah.
That's why you don't hang out with Imperial Fists. But now, the next one, Stinger mold. Stinger mold is cool because it's not really a drug. It's something that grows natural. So it's going to be legalized next year. Stinger mold is an extremely rare breed of fungus that can be found growing in the bad zones under the hive cities of Necromunda. It is highly valuable due to its healing and regenerative properties, being renowned among doctors and surgeons who covet it greatly. In some areas, it is even harvested for use in the hive, the spies of nobles, or even for sale off-world. Now, the mold can only be found in specific areas of the Badlands, where organic sewage and radioactive waste mix, and even then it will only grow at a certain temperature. When it does, it will bloom in a matter of hours before exploding to spread the poisonous, spiked spores, which are its namesake, into the ventilation ducts. As soon as it has blossomed, the mold withers and dies. However, if the mold can be harvested before it blooms, then the spores can be processed into a balm or a compress, which when applied to even the most dire of wounds, will vastly enhance and accelerate the body's own innate healing process.
Yes, a good drug.
A more good drug.
A more good drug, yes, yeah.
This seems great. This isn't even really a drug. This is just medicine.
Yeah, this is fine. This is your Nurofen and Panadol mixed together, basically. Yeah.
That being said, to the right penal legionnaire, Frenzons is medicine as well. But
true.
This genuinely seems like medicine to me. And you can tell it's all the bad drugs we've talked about so far have actually been quite cheap. The good drugs, Stinger mold, 75 credits, and rare 13 on the marketplace.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, not cheap. And a dose of Stinger mold in game terms can be used after a fighter has rolled on the lasting injury table. If the result is a roll of anything other than a 66 memorable death, the result is ignored, including positive results such as 11, lesson learned, and the fighter is instead just out cold.
Oh, that's cool. So it shows the healing properties, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it shows those exact Lorekeeper properties there where, hey, doctors and surgeons covet it greatly because anything short of death, it seems to fix.
Yeah, right. That's really, really awesome. Mate, why aren't they farming this? Why aren't they mass producing this? This is the way to go.
you've played 40k, yeah. You know
I have.
there's no money in like saving your population. You have to exterminate the Xenos.
That is true.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
I do apologise. I've let myself down.
you've embarrassed yourself and you've
Yes.
embarrassed our listeners. Weirdly enough, though, alternatively, a fighter can actually attempt to use a dose of stinger mold to remove an existing lasting injury. Now, during the last step of the post-battle sequence, after distributing equipment, but before updating the gang roster, roll a d6 for any fighter attempting to use stinger mold in this way. On a 5 or a 6, effects of one lasting injury the fighter has suffered are immediately negated. So,
Amazing.
if you get this sort of mid to late game, you can try and use this and, get rid of that leg injury or eye injury or whatever. 75 credits is usually a little cheaper than Bionics, or
But yeah, I guess so. But like, I'm thinking about it from the logical sense of it. Like, imagine that you blinded one eye and then you rub a bit of stinger mold in there, and 2 days later, she's all
your
good.
eyes back.
Yeah, I mean that's almost heretical at that stage. You wouldn't be able to use too much of it. You wouldn't be able to get away with too much of it without, I don't know, potentially drawing the attention of people who are going to go, this seems a little bit too convenient, a little bit too space magic-y.
Well, everyone knows of its healing capabilities. What did it say there? It vastly enhances and accelerates the body's own innate healing process. I can't imagine it's going to fix. Would it go to the extent of regrowing lost limbs? No, I can't imagine.
They might fix a
doing that.
limp, but
Yeah,
it's
a
not
limp,
gonna...
scars, that sort of thing there. But I can't imagine.
What if you've already got the bionic and then it tries to regrow the limb? You're in a world of trouble.
You're going to be a weird 3-armed guy, and if you don't have forehead ridges and a purple tinge to your skin, people look down on you if you have a third arm.
So wait, you're saying that the Gene Stealer cult doesn't get looked down on? It's just like, that's Gary Gene Stealer. I'll ignore him.
It's old Gary Gene Stealer and his mate Alex the Aberrant. All right, you leave them alone. That whole group of theirs, the joyous congregation of the smiling God, all they do their work. They have a soup kitchen on Sundays, and apparently everyone who joins that soup kitchen thinks they're good enough to join their little church. So maybe you should stop besmirching the good name of theirs.
And have some soup. That's how they spread it.
Yeah,
across every single hive is the soup. Is the Gene Stealer cult soup kitchen.
Yeah, they've filled it with Obscura and Karma. You drink it, you have your soup. You're like, I'm a little bit sleepy. Boom, Gene Stealer kiss. Okay, gang idea. No.
Gene Stealer soup kitchen.
Yeah, Gene Stealer. Actually, no. Terrain idea. Done. I'm building my marketplace. Gene Stealer cult soup kitchen. So stinger mold, no side effects though.
That's it.
It's all positive.
It's a good thing. Can't we have a good thing?
No, because I can't put this in a needle rifle. What's the point?
You can.
No, you can't. You can only shoot it at your enemies. Why would I try and shoot healing at
my
enemies?
Why not? Why not bring a little bit of positivity to the battlefield? Actually, no, I did that at the tournament, and no, we had a moment of positivity, and the poor ganger who was running to help out his mate was sculled by a lasgun. So
exactly,
I still need to remind myself: do not focus on the positives.
Play like a scumbag, lose friends, and alienate people. All right. The needle rifle supremacist movement is coming to a hive near you. This is honestly the only way I want to play from now on against you.
Your absolute nonsense away. Yeah, I'm well aware of that fact against me. You colossal jerk. All right, so stinger mold, fantastic, good for you.
Great.
Grab it where you can get it.
I think it's great, and the ability to, just straight up remove the long-term effects of anything that's short of death, I think is fantastic. 75 credits, rare 13. It's not exactly cheap, but keeping one of those bad boys handy, and keep it in the stash, because that leader or champion gets a lasting injury. You use that bad boy and don't even worry about it. He's just got to sleep it off.
Yeah, exactly. Just have a nice kit and he's sorted. Oh, that's good. I like stinger mold. Finally, a good one.
Yeah. Well, jump into the next one and really just shatter that.
Bring it all back down.
Shatter that one.
Oh, Spur. Spur is the name given to a number of similar stimulants, all of which boost the nervous system, improving senses, muscle reaction, speed of thought. But there is the side effect that it's short-lived and wears off quite quickly. So, like, even as short as a couple of minutes, or maybe you might be able to generate sort of a half hour out of it. So, I guess Spur is one of those stimulants. Like, it's a coverall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very much like the word stims. So stims. So you have stims as well. So you have Spur stims, and they're sort of these completely coverall things for any sort of stimulants or any sort of performance boosters. And I guess they sort of they share the same page, I guess. And the stems themselves, they're utilized also by the Imperium. Spur, I'm not too sure whether or not that's actually used by the Imperium. It's been hard to find definitive info about it.
I think it's just a different name, like stems.
Yeah, okay.
Seems to be the stuff that's used on an imperial scale. Interestingly enough, doesn't have rules for Necromunda, whereas Spur seems to be the gang sort of high version of Stims and does have rules. I think Stims may just be the sort of old. Remember the old rules for combat drugs for the Imperial Guard and like the Rogue Trader RPGs and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was stim injectors that I'm trying to think which unit had them. Completely escapes me. It's way back in my ancient memory. There was stim injectors. So although they're utilized by the Imperium, they're often illegal on Imperial worlds. And that means that they're controlled by the criminal networks, which is perfect for Necromunda. But some stims, like combat stims, are legally used by military forces. So pretty much what I was saying there is, like, you have a group of stims that the Imperium go, these are all great, let's pump our soldiers for them. But our Imperial citizens, our gangers, our hive worlds, these are all things you cannot put your gribbly little paws on. These are for Imperial use only, which is, probably pretty standard practice as well. Like, we can have it, you can't go near it, sort of thing.
I can't imagine that type of hypocrisy being a big concept in the Imperium, though. Do you really think they'd be silly enough to be like, oh, well, we're allowing our Imperial Guard to use these drugs, don't you civilians use it? Or, I don't know, we do hate all those dirty Xenos, but those Jakera make pretty cool digital weapons for us.
Yeah, it's true. It's pretty standard practice for the Imperium, isn't it?
Yeah. Hypocrisy just... Oh my God.
Okay.
If you thought I was done before, I've only just realized why they're called digital weapons. Because
joking?
you wear them on your digits.
Are you joking?
No, I'm 100% serious. I was about to make a joke about it. It's okay, as long as you got my monkey rings. And then I'm like, I always just figured digital as in like digital, like a digital watch.
Right. I've had my moment with Imperial Tithes, and you've had your moment with Digi. Digi as in digit.
As in digit. I'm not even kidding. I've never felt this dumb in my life.
Jeez. This is the audience. This is not scripted. This is like, I was this many years old when I found out.
I was 37 years old when I finally clicked that digital weapons are worn on the digits.
Yep. Captain Tycho. Digilasers on his knuckles.
Yeah, every Inquisitor ever. Every Praetor in Horus Heresy. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man,
I'm happy, but I'm sort of wondering about my life choices now.
Yeah,
that I do this with you.
I'm disappointed in myself. I'm actually I'm blown away by that. Yeah.
Circling back.
Yeah,
Circling
circling back.
to Stims.
Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Thy name is Imperium.
True.
Spur, on the other hand, in the game sense, you've nailed it on there. It's a stimulant. It makes you faster. It makes you quicker. Your movement characteristic goes up by 2, and your initiative characteristic goes to a 2+.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Interestingly enough, though, you must check to see if it wears off in each subsequent end phase.
Yeah, I was about to ask that, like, because the Lorekeeper side of it says it can last maybe a few minutes. It's like it's almost like a, I don't know, something you could just like sniff and just be like, okay, I'm G'd up, I'm ready to go. Yeah, right. Okay.
Every other drug, bar Stinger Mold, basically is a, hey, it's like this for the remainder of the battle. This is like how it is for the remainder of the battle. You're once again rolling that 2d6, add the toughness. If it's 10 or more, the spur's worn off, you're no longer subject to its effects.
Yeah, right.
No chance of addiction, though.
So, okay, so it's just a little pep me up sort of thing.
It's adrenaline, I guess.
There we go. Perfect. Exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's a combat drug that you're basically just, get the old EpiPen, jam it in, and go to town.
I was about to say that. It's an EpiPen. Yeah, you just like punch it into your leg. Jesus, I can move. And you start running. Yeah.
I can move, and then you've done that, 50-yard dash, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, that's run out. Oh, I've grabbed Goblin Juves EpiPen again. It's not the full adult size. Although a Goliath-sized EpiPen, I imagine, is just a fire extinguisher.
Implanted straight into like the neck or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like,
You don't need to, but they all do it via the neck.
Yeah.
Because it's how you do it the hardest. Yeah, it's the hard way to do it.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, Spur's cool, but it's just like I don't want to use this term, but I'm going to. It's a recreational one, really. It's a little bit of fun.
It is.
Yeah. Tap into it, move on. But I just realised we didn't mention what the actual stims do, or the stimulants do, that the Imperium make legal. So those ones are for removing pain from a fighter. So it's interesting that they're not actually in the rules as well, but so they mask pain and drive fighters on when their bodies would otherwise give up, is what they're saying here. But they can have quite disastrous effects, like including death, when you have excessive use of stims. So, and also leading to addiction and other types of effects that are just all nasty, which I imagine the Imperium would just write off and just be like, no, just keep taking them. Just keep taking them.
Just keep taking them. You're absolutely fine. Don't even worry about it, buddy. But 100%, the Imperium at the end of the day is not going to care. The type of troopers, penal legionnaires, a great example is the Savlar chem dogs. Do you really think they care if a couple of penal legionnaires die because they've taken too many drugs? No,
not at all.
What do they care? As long as you capture that bunker, or you do what they need done.
Bayonet that Titan.
Bayonet that Titan. Yeah, but like the types of troopers that are going to be taking these things, the vast majority of them are going to be even more disposable than your average Imperial Guardsman. So if we're looking at it from a gang perspective, where the people taking them, like you said before, the control of a lot of these chems are going to be held by criminal networks. You've got the narco lords on Necromunda, for example. Their gangs have basically hired scum. They don't care if they do too much spur and have a heart attack all over.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as you capture that territory or you take out that rival dealer, you're a tax write-off, basically.
Tax write-off.
You're a tax write-off.
Just crunching numbers with Lord Helmore's accountant. Oh no. They're all written up. Don't worry about them.
I can sell your corpse
Business
to the corpse guild and make a few bucks off that one there. So at the end of the day, I win.
Yeah, eventually you become gas, and I'll probably end up selling you later on. So done.
Yeah, done.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of talk about drugs, my friend. I think we've covered off most of them, to be honest.
I'm not going to lie, I've got an overwhelming urge to start a music festival. And weirdly enough, because it's probably not what you expected me to go with that, to climb a tower with a needle rifle and fire Obscura and Karma at them all, and then sell them.
And just make profit. Yeah, just
it's pure profit.
Yeah. I'm going to say you're a genius, but you're terrifying.
I'm not going to do that, but it's what the kids call a real dick move. So we've talked a lot about drugs, and closing thoughts on these? Do you have a gang idea? Actually, do you have a gang idea? Because I do.
My gang idea is a bunch of guys using needle rifles to generate more customers. And it's entirely my own creation, that gang.
That's fine. I'll allow it. That's fine. You've obviously had nothing original, and you've stolen my intellectual property. You'll be hearing from my solicitor.
Can't wait.
His name is Timmy. He is from the Timmytown Locos.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the gang coming out there, just like with needle rifles, just creating more customers in the hive.
Yeah.
What an absolute bunch of monsters.
Yeah. Real scumbag move. You just like, you gotta respect the hustle.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And what about yourself? What's your gang idea?
The Timmytown Locos. I'd most likely run them as Venators. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I really like that concept of just win by overwhelming douchebaggery. just shoot your entire opponent's gang with as many chems as possible. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could play them as Escher, because didn't they get the combi?
Yeah, they got the combi. Well, why would you use that? No.
Yeah, but the bolt, because you got a bolt gun just in case you've got like I know, an ambot or something like that coming against you.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But if you've got remember they had the cool combi needle bolt pistol needler?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets a shooting skill. Can the Escher get shooting skills? No, they can't. Damn. I was going to say it'd be great if you got like a gang queen with 2 bolt pistol needle, like combi bolt pistols.
Just going off, punching off double shots per round. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because the Escher chems are a whole different game, and there's so much to talk about them there. We're not going to do that tonight because
we are done.
Because that's a great way you'd actually create your own customers. And then if you're the only Escher gang, you're the only one who can sell.
Oh, right. Proper monopoly.
Yeah, you literally create a monopoly of your own chems.
Right. That's an even better idea. That's my new gang idea, by the way.
That's your new. Well, that's where the stims come in, because the stims are basically all of the Escher chems.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, you could No, I'm not becoming a capitalist extra player. Yeah, Timmytown Locos, Venator Gang, your leader and your two champions all have needle rifles, and you run that gang real bare bones. Just enough gangers, like players with gang fighter, to make your gang legal, and everything else is spent on chems and needle rifles. Your aim, because once you put them, if you can get them down and get their stats bad enough, just capture them. Just capture them, and then you're just selling them to guilders.
Yeah, I was going to say, just sell them off to the guilders, get heaps of coin for them, reload all your chems, go again.
New chems, buy them off that Escher player. Done.
Yes. Mate, it's actually disgusting, and it is. I would hate to see it in a campaign, but bring it on, you colossal jerk.
Yeah, I'm going to be an absolute turd and play this against you. I'm going to start building some Venators. Not tonight, because once again, I'm very tired. And yeah, let's close this bad boy off. Do you have any closing words there?
No. I'm pretty much done. I think we've done a lot of talking regarding the chems. So I've definitely been inspired to want to use them more. And I can guarantee you the next thing I'll be doing is picking up the House of Blades and reading through all of their chems and all of their stems and seeing how they can be used in needle weaponry.
Oh, do you want to do a gang needle rifle versus needle rifle?
Absolutely. When you come at me with this gang of yours, I will be coming at you with a carbon copy. And it'll just be seeing who can force each other's gang members to be addicted the most.
As long as I get to bring digi weapons, I'm absolutely fine.
Oh,
also,
Jesus.
needle pistols as backup weapons, so you can still shoot chems. Okay, before I start ranting about them again, we'll close this one off and let's have a look. Do we have a quote? Yes, we do.
Oh, we do have a quote. Oh, fantastic.
And this quote here comes to us from the Book of Judgment. The best slaught comes from the East Town gals, but you're better off looking for friends on elsewhere. Had a proper funny turn on their last batch. And that's Gax Steeltooth of the Oxide Crushers of House Goliath. And that was our latest episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. As always, I am Spamuel, and on behalf of the Lorekeeper team, thank you for listening. Please follow us on our social media pages available in the show notes, and don't forget to follow and review us on your preferred podcast platform. As always, if you have any questions, complaints, corrections, or if you are interested in an apprenticeship with the Timmytown Locos, please reach out to us at underhivelorekeepers@gmail.com. Thanks.